Hello, viewers. So it is finally 60 degrees out. It is March 9th, and look at all the snow left over from that trash storm we had a few weeks ago. And oh man. And so I'm out here this afternoon. The Lincoln is finally like reachable. It was totally buried, totally buried. If you saw some of the videos after the blizzard, it was buried. I have to deal with that. The cover was wet because we had a wet, mild, I should say, weekend with rain. So I have all these like chores and tasks to do, and I was going to do a video on each thing, like putting the generator, starting a car, and just all these things. But I thought, I don't feel like cutting all these videos. So I figured I would do a vlog style video. So I may jump in and jump out and jump all over the place. So I think the first thing we want to do, well, I'll tell you what we need to do. I want to get the generator tucked back away. Still have the cord here. We didn't end up using it, but I was all prepared. I had the Honda, which was stacked on top of the generator when it was tucked away. I had to pull that down, and this is a neighbor's lawnmower that she's paying Eddie to service it. So I'm not going to do that without him here. He's not here today. And then I had this cardboard down because I was varnishing fan windings in here over the winter. And then I pulled out my air filter, which needs to be replaced for the shop vac. To wet vac the basement because that snow is melting a little bit into the basement. I want to actually tune up the Honda. I was hoping to do that today. Typically here in stupid New England, we don't start cutting the grass until like early May. Where I grew up in Jersey, it was like the second half of April. And where I used to work in a Midwest location, it was like late March. And they had 75 degrees this weekend. So, all right, so I think the first thing we're going to do, and I'll put you up on the tripod, but I have the microphone on me so you can hear me. I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the cover off the car. And I want to inspect it just because I get nervous when something sits out here like this untouched all winter. I want to take the cover off and then put the battery tender on it for a while we're working out here. I'm going to take it off the Mustang. I keep a battery tender on the Mustang, and I keep one on the riding lawnmower. I used to not do it with the riding lawnmower until that caught up with me a couple years ago. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And so I'm going to pop in and out of the frame, but hopefully you can still hear me. And I hope my camera has enough charge. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so nice out. So one of the things I do is this cover, now, I've had this car since 2019, and this cover, when it was new, even up until last year, it fit pretty snug, even when it was windy. It stretches a little over time, and we get high winds at this stupid place, and so those bungees actually grab on to the cover, and this thing doesn't budge. I think I just had one. In extreme situations, I put two in the front, two in the rear, and with my '06 town car, which I haven't had in 3 years, I used to have to put two on. So we could grab one from back here. The cover's pretty dry for the most part. I was hoping this morning when I came back from the gym it would be dry. Ooh, I think I'm going to end up having to take my sweatshirt off. Oh, man. Now, one of the things that drives me crazy about native New Englanders, is it hits 60 degrees. And you would think you're in the tropics. You see people walking around with shirts off and tank tops and just they'll tell you it's hot out. And no, 60 degrees is not hot. 60s is nice. I would love to live in a climate where 60 degrees is like my winter, you know? When the kids, Eddie, who you know, and Violet, my daughter, get old enough, I should say when they're older and they're kind of out of the house, I definitely want to relocate to the south. This cover needs to be washed. It is just filthy. So I think on video I've actually washed this car cover before. I think last year when I got it painted. Now I'm going to tell you this. I think next winter I'm going to rent a spot for the Mustang to be in, like a a temperature humidity controlled storage place. I know of a place not far from here, and that's what they do. So let's take a look at the town car together. And yes, I've documented this car many times, but I haven't opened it, and I hope we didn't get any visitors. You're usually able to tell that pretty quickly. Okay, dryer sheets. What do we got here? Let's make sure it's... Yeah, see, the dryer sheets, they allegedly don't like any of this. The mice, that is. It doesn't mean we're... that's a good sign. It's actually warm in the car. Yeah, dryer sheet back there. And bar of soap back here. Yeah, I think we're okay. That's another reason I want to put this in a garage over the winter. I paid too much money last year to get all the body work done. The sound of the acorns in there, I think were from previous, because, but you can see the dry. I just put dryer sheets everywhere in here. Don't like that. This is all. Why is this damp? Well, that cover was drying like crazy. Yeah, see, I went nuts with the dryer sheets. What the hell is that? It's like condensation's under here. Yeah, everything was just so wet. I mean, there was like 2 feet of snow on top of this car for a while, on top of the cover. So I understand there might have not been great places for everything to go. All right, so we're gonna put the battery tender on here. But again, you see the hood light on. Just gonna open it up. I'm gonna put you back on the tripod. I'm actually gonna take off my sweatshirt. Take my microphone off. Just bear with me 1 second. The feel of the sun hit your skin. I know it's not good for you, but just that feeling of like, after being indoors all winter and everything, and then feeling it, just so nice. All right, I'm gonna put the microphone back on me. I had a video that just aired recently. Actually, I think it only aired to premium subscribers, where you pay, I think it's 99 cents or $1.99 a month, depending on which one you choose. So we have videos queued out for 2 months ahead, and they have access to all those. The second they get published, where everyone else, they wouldn't see them until they actually air on the date each day, typically 8 p.m. Eastern. And someone actually commented on one of them that the audio was horrible, and it was using the new microphones. And I remember Eddie and I, something happened with the setting or something, and we thought we fixed it. So that's why I'm extra careful. All right, so battery tender. Since we're doing, and I'm sorry about the sunlight, since we're doing like 10 different things, I'm just gonna be pulling the camera around. Put this cover somewhere over here. Unfortunately, the cover, actually, I may not put the cover back on tonight. I have to check the weather for tomorrow. If the weather is not going to be rainy or anything, I think I'll leave the cover off of it. All right, so this generator, we can unplug. I have this little, I don't know if you can see me. I'll take a look. So you might see next to the outlet right there, there's a vintage light fixture. That's Eddie's. He found that here. It was laying on the basement floor when we moved in. Eddie found that. And I said, you know what? It's a good spot. It normally hangs over by the tool area, but good spot for here for the generator. And I had it plugged in so to one of the outlets. So it's like, if we have to run this thing, I know there's a constant light on in the garage with that there. Something in my eye. Sunlight, right? Okay. I was impressed. I didn't do a video on it, but we started this for the first time in 2 years before the storm. And I have the fuel in there with the stable in there, whatever you call it. And it fired right up. Just get this out of the way. Put it right here. All right, so battery tender. I like to unplug it. And then 1, 2. Then we'll come over here. I gotta remember, this is where I gotta get the GoPro. I mean, I have a GoPro. I've talked about this in other videos. I have a GoPro. I've owned it since Christmas of 24, and I've yet to set it up. Stupid. I mean, this is a trickle charger and basically a battery tender, so it's not like it's a jump pack where it doesn't need a jump pack. But I don't want to kill the battery if I don't want to kill it if I'm not going to be daily driving it, to try to start it. Because we will start it towards the end of what we're doing today. All right, the extension cord. So it's just about 2 o'clock today, and my only regret is I didn't get out earlier. I had some work calls and business calls, and that unfortunately takes the priority. All right, we'll just safety last, lay that in the wet. Okay, it's charging. All right, so the next thing we want to do is probably getting fitness notifications. That usually means somebody's requesting. So I have, for whatever your preference is, whatever your likes or dislikes is. I'm just telling you what I do. I'm not preaching, but I use an iWatch with the fitness app and all that stuff. And what I like about it is you can, you can, with your buddies, track workouts and things. And I regularly get requests and to share my stuff, which is cool. Like, because if it drives inspiration for somebody else or motivation, or feels like it keeps them honest, cool. But if it's like a creep factor where it's like, when is Ed working out and what is he doing? I don't like that. All right, so that is going to get started because we're going to roll it out of the garage. So I have to move the Suburban up. All right, the first thing we're going to do Turn it this way. This thing smokes. It doesn't smoke in a bad way. When it just sits and it's, this condensation and whatnot, we get a lot of exhaust, like where it like blows you out of here. So I gotta, one, put this giant extension cord away. Secondly, this is not exactly how it would normally wind up an extension cord. Secondly, my bicycle is at the door. I like to open that back door to when I fire the car up. Just hang this cord up here. Put Eddie's little vintage incandescent. Did I say incandescent? Incandescent. Well, this is the Untitled Ed channel, so we're gonna say incandescent instead of incandescent. All right. Well, I'm gonna put this in his pile of stuff here. He has this big project here that we have to get to. All right. So now I'm gonna try to. What I'm gonna try to do? I'm gonna try to move the bicycle. So normally, I'm probably out of frame now. I have a 3733 that sits up there. Not that moves a ton of air, but it circulates it, right? And it enables me to open this door. So you can still see all the snow. So back here, we don't really get the sunlight, and you see I have to power wash this door because there's like moss and stuff on there or whatever. Okay. I don't think I have to get the 3733 up there at this very moment. So the next thing we're going to do is start the car. The keys are in it, so if you ever come by and you want to steal my car, you can just come into the garage and do that. Obviously not. All right. By the way, those license plates aren't registered to this address, so you can't track me. The only reason I want YouTubers here is if we're here to work on fans, lawnmowers, electricity projects, or whatever, just to hang out. But I would prefer by invite only. Okay, so we're going to start it up. You know what? I'm going to put the microphone back here. I always kind of wanted to do that. Exhaust is going right out the back door because thankfully the breeze is coming from the front to the rear of the garage. So we got that going for us. Alright, while that's going on, I don't know if you can even hear me. I am going to grab the keys for the Suburban. So I got the keys for the Suburban. The one thing is the car hooks up to the Bluetooth. I don't know if that messes up the camera. So we're gonna go check. If you can still hear me and see me. All right, we didn't get messed up. But you can see the breeze on that's a dryer sheet hanging off that space heater there. It smells like a laundromat in here when I turn that space heater on. Again, rodents don't like that. All right, we're gonna pull it out and someone's dog's barking. So I'm trying to turn on the second microphone. We'll turn on. Actually, it won't turn on. Weird. I was gonna. Oh wait. All right, so we have both microphones, so you can hear it pull out. I watch so many YouTube videos and of car stuff, and I always like how they have a second camera that and a microphone in those situations. So that was my poor man's impression of those better channels. No Nonsense, No How is one of my favorites. Guy is awesome. Ironically, Eddie's text messaging, because that's one of his favorites too. So I'm gonna put the second microphone over here. Not that you need to know, it's kind of like behind the scenes stuff, but this is like a blog. All right, so the next thing I want to do is start the generator. So I will start that and then probably take a break, because you don't really necessarily need to hear the generator running for 15-20 minutes. And then during that time, I think I'm going to try to start the lawnmower, because I want to work on it, but I want to change the oil. So it's best to change the oil when it's warm. It's one of my least favorite things to do in terms of starting a lawnmower that's been sitting all winter. Sometimes you want to shoot a little go juice down the neck of the carburetor. If this was just like a Briggs & Stratton, that's really, well, I guess it's easy to pop the air cleaner off and just hit it with a squirt. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I'm going to start the generator. One pull. This thing has like maybe 4 hours, 5 hours of use on it in its life. I bought it in 2021, I think. So it'll be this fall. It'll be 5 years old, and it has like no hours on it. And this is probably like its second or third gas tank, or tank of gas in it in that period of time. All right, so I'm gonna let this run. I'm gonna take a break from you so I don't rattle your ears, and we'll come back. All right, the generator's still going, the Mustang's still running, the Lincoln's charging. I'm about to start something else, start the lawnmower to warm up the oil. I know you can't hear anything, turn the volume down. So we'll cut the Mustang now. So I want to hear if you did an electric fan. Yep, I did the electric fan. That means you're pretty warm. The temperature of tank of gas. One thing I didn't do this year, which is bad, is I didn't put stable and fuel. That's still charging. All right, so we're gonna cut the fuel off. So we're going to run the fuel out of the generator, let that run for another moment or two. Okay, we're back. So the Mustang started with a few cranks. You heard that. The generator, what was that? What did I say? One pull? It's ridiculous. The lawnmower was 3 pulls, I believe. So the oil should be warm. So normally I have a lawnmower lift over there. However, Eddie's project has kind of taken over and lived there since the beginning of whenever time. And so I'm alone. So I just physically picked this up and put it on here. It's not the end of the world, but it's nice when you have the tools to do it easier, to make it easier on yourself, but you can't use them. What I've learned over the years, if you take 2 sawhorses, put one this way and one that way, it doesn't go anywhere. A board, I have some old shelving boards from the other location here. Not quite wide enough. See how warm that is? Yeah, awesome. All right, so you can do this a variety of ways. You can use one of these, or you can just tip the lawnmower on its side, which I personally do not like doing. It's a headache. But this thing hasn't been so great. There was one time I did this, and I thought I got it stuck down there. I would like to get a bigger one. And so what happens is the tube is not very pliable, and then you put heat in here. You know, the warm oil, this thing gets very pliable. See, there it goes. Sometimes this works pretty quickly, other times it does not. Do I have this backwards? Let's just think about that for a second. All right, so that actually was correct. And I got it pumping pretty good. And this is very pliable, as I was saying. And, you just got to be careful. Like I said, one time I thought I got it stuck down there, and I just like, oh no, I just trashed my lawnmower. So I'll give it a few more pumps. You can hear it. Now, does this get every last drop of oil out? No, I wouldn't say so. Does this even have a drain plug on it? You know what? This looks like it does have a drain plug on it. Well, maybe next time that's the route I'll go. The older Briggs and Strattons used to. Like they're very old. Like I'm saying like 80s and even older. Yeah, okay. I think that's going to be it. All right. So I've actually done a full-on video on actually like everything to do with this. So this is not really a how-to video. This is just like me hanging out, or you're hanging out with me while I'm doing this. I did put cardboard down there so I'm not dripping all over my carpet. Let's check the oil level. The oil was low actually. It was fairly clean, but it was kind of low. Oh yeah, there's nothing in there. All right. Yes. Okay, so we got it. Awesome. Okay, so next, what I like to do is the spark plug. Now, I'm a little ghetto I tend to not replace the plug every time. And I don't have one on handy with me, so I soak it in gas. Just looking for, I tend to go to the recycling area. This ought to work. And then, now, safety tip. Again, not a how-to video, but you really should pull this boot off before you pick up the lawnmower and work on it. Yeah, this plug looks awesome. This lawnmower didn't, really in the last year didn't get a ton of hours because I moved here. Didn't cut the back lawn for like a month because, oh shoot, the tools are in the basement. Didn't cut the back lawn for like a month because of, it was like dead. And then when we got the tractor going pretty well, we just use this to trim and that's it. And then when Eddie was here, he was using his Toro. So it's super light hours. All right, I'm gonna run to the basement and grab tools from the fan area. All right, I grabbed a spark plug wrench at a toolbox. That wasn't tight at all. Wow, that's in really good shape. Again, it's almost like this doesn't even need to be tuned, but we're gonna do it. This way it's done. And I know a lot of people who just like, in the spring, they'll just start their lawnmower, you know, they'll struggle, they'll start it, get it started, and then if they can't get it started, they'll take it to a shop, and then they'll pay whatever, and then they'll do that for the next few years, and at some point when they take it to the shop the next time around, it'll be like, oh, your lawnmower's old. So I'm pouring gas into that. It's actually, oh man, this is not good. I'm spilling it. I don't want to get it on the carpet. Thankfully, it just stayed on the cardboard. All right, get this over here. Yeah, this happens. I mean, this is the first springtime at this location, but you know, over the winter time, even though I keep my garage neat, you just like, you have stuff, I call it like winter and summer, like for the garage, right? Winter, You have some things tucked away, access to other things like the generator. You could shove the lawnmowers back, just certain things, right? And then in the spring, you open it up. As much as you try to keep the garage clean, like I pulled the car out, this rug needs to be vacuumed. There's just like very fine pieces of leaves that made their way in here, etc. So that's not going to all happen today. Not that that's a major project, but there's a process that started with this. Like, I got salt from outside sitting there. All right, so oil or air filter. Okay. I mean, like, look at that. This is all going to get reused. This thing is like perfect condition. I mean, just a little bit of dust. Yeah, look at that. So I'm going to leave this off until we're done screwing with the lawnmower, because I made a mistake a couple years ago. I put a new filter in, blah, 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 and then I started jerking with the lawnmower, tipping it on its side and back to take the blades off to sharpen it, because that's the next thing we got to do. And oil like soaked the air filter, and I couldn't get the lawnmower started. I couldn't figure out why it would not start. And it ran like trash. Could not figure it out. I had no idea or even thought about what I had done. And because I'm so used to the Briggs & Stratton 3.5 horsepower, like the vintage flathead style. And I just assumed, if you you flood that thing, usually the oil comes out the exhaust. And but really, in this, I guess, I don't know what the heck I did. But that was a dumb moment, because I was like, I just couldn't figure out. I never bothered to look at the air filter again, because I'd just put a new one in there. All right, so what we're going to do next is, I'm going to turn this gas line off. I'm going to put it down, and we're going to flip it on its side, which is just, so much fun. And, oh man, do I have a block of wood here? At the other location, I used to have this little block of wood. And I used to always talk about that block of wood. It was a very important tool. And I don't think it made it here. I do have a block of wood I can use. That block of wood was used in far more applications and projects as a spacer, as, in this case, we'll use it to hold the blade while we wrench on it to get it off. Actually, in this case, blades. All right, so I want to put this in a safe spot. Normally, before the channel, if I was doing this by myself, I just listen to music. But since copyright folks don't like that, we ain't doing that. All right, so I'm going to try to wipe up some of this loose oil, loose oil, whatever you want to call it, that dripped onto the floor here, or not on the floor, on the cardboard. This way I'm not stepping in it, and I'll probably tip the lawnmower here. You know what? I wonder, I might be able to take those blades down right here. I've never done it that way before. All right, let's get this oil bucket out of the way. It's only a matter of time before I knock it over. If not, I don't think you can see me. I think I don't have the camera down far enough. So nice. If there was no snow on the lawn, I'd be tempted to set those sawhorses up outside. Lincoln's still charging, which I would probably have to leave that overnight to get it to fully charge, which I might do. All right. Now I'm going to attempt to get this blade off from underneath. I have never tried that before. It might be a foolish thing to do, because I think I'm going to lose my leverage. Can you see what I'm doing? Also, I have to keep an eye on this camera that I don't wipe out the memory. I've been doing a lot of filming. Okay, that's too big. Too big. I should probably pull the tool box over here. That's a nice sound for you. Yeah, tools have been living in the basement in the fan area because of all those videos and servicing and whatnot. Too big. Too big. Wow. Okay. Now, this blade's going to spin. I think I'm just going to take it down. I don't think I'm going to try this because I have a system for when I take it down, even though I have to tip it on its stupid side. I want to tip it this way, I think. All right. Get my new wooden block for this location. Yeah, that wooden block, I mean, I've used it for Christmas light stuff. I've used it for doing this project. I've used it as a shim for something that I'm working on. All right, this is where I miss having Eddie. Oh, I shouldn't say this is where I miss having Eddie. I miss having Eddie in general around. The funny thing is I always know when he's getting off the bus for school because I get a million text messages, not a million, but a lot of text messages of just eBay listings. Typically they're cars, like vintage cars. But he also will send me fans as well, which is cool. Especially during a work day, you know, when I'm at my desk and like, whatever. This is, I wish, my work. But, you know, he'll send me these things and put this down so you can see a little better. And he'll send me these things and it just makes for a better day for me. Right, I'm going to tip it this way, not the other way, because I think that's where I got in trouble before. All right. I try to do this as quickly as possible. And I should bring you with me. Try to do this as quickly as possible. I usually do it in the driveway. How bad am I dripping? I'm not dripping that bad. Okay. So this has two blades. Actually, it looks like it's in pretty good shape. And then usually with that block in place, I can let it come loose. That's the wrong. I think we got it wrong here. There we go. I'm going to the left. There we go. I was the last person to put these blades on, so I was talking in another video, working on a fan, and I was talking about not over tightening things, and I was talking about how in that video when I was a young guy, I used to always over tighten things because I could. My dad used to have to tell me to, like, don't do that. And So obviously when you're putting a fan guard on, you don't want to over tighten it, or fan motor, motor mounts, you just want to snug. But when it comes to these blades, I say you definitely can over tighten, but at the same time, I would rather have it over tightened than have a fiasco. So usually, underneath this looks really good. Usually I will take a wire brush and just get the loose stuff out. There's not much here. Not much at all, because I either blow it out when I'm done or I hit it with the hose. Okay. So it's important to remember which way this stuff goes on. Grass washer. All right. Goes on like this. We got to remember flat part to flat part. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to put the lawnmower back up. Actually, we should scrape it while we're here. Are we dripping anything? No. Scraper. The problem with being in this new location, for the old location, I know exactly where my stuff is, at all times. Where we're just organized this stuff in the fall. And I don't have it quite dialed into oh, that's where this is. That's where that is. Where the heck is my scraper? It also is quite possible my scraper and some things are still hanging out at the other location, which is okay. I'm just glad it doesn't really need to. I can see, actually, I think it is in the other location, because I can see in my mind where it is, and I think it's still there. What can we use? So this, oh, you can't see me. That's why I need the GoPro, so you can see what I'm doing. All right. Ooh, this will work. This should. Ooh, I found something that's going to work for us. Pretty cool. In my bucket of hammers, I have a wire brush. Yeah, that's just dust. There's no clumping on here. That actually feels like that's plastic. Yeah, because that goes into the chute. This is a non-self-propelled model. I actually have one, not to sound like a nerd, but I have I do have a self-propelled model of this from the same era, Honda, that I need to service and put up for sale. I acquired it for really next to nothing in the fall. The idea I would do that and flip it. All right, that's all we had to scrape out of there. These tires, they're bald, but it's not like a car, And it's not self-propelled, so I'm not really too worried about it. All right, put that back. Okay, let's put it right side up. Okay. Yeah, so if you're doing this, again, not a how-to video, but if you're doing this, tip it that way on the muffler side. Not the airbox side. That's where I ran into trouble. So the next thing we need to do is we need to sharpen and balance these blades. That's where the sawhorses are coming in. So maybe if I put the lawnmower back out there and put the sawhorses over here because of the lighting. So we're bladeless at the moment. So what I need to do, sawhorse. My workbench isn't a disaster. I have some miscellaneous things on it. I try to keep a tidy workspace at all times. But you know how people come in the wintertime and they're like, oh, just throw this here for now, throw it there for now. That's what kind of happens. All right, so I have a grinder or wheel. This is good. I've done videos on this, I think, as well in the past. So this is the only reason I bought this thing. I used to use the little stone that would go on the end of the drill, which was a headache, especially if you had a blade that was not balanced really well. Oh, man. All right, extension cord. I don't want to disrupt what's going on with the Lincoln. Well, we have two 100 feet cords. Actually, I have a 50 foot back there, I think. Ironically, this extension cord back here, this green one, has appeared in videos because we replaced the end to it in kind of like a how-to. Yeah. We cut the first part of the insulation back too far, but we'll just keep an eye on that and go from there. I don't like this cord. It's actually not bad right now, but the second the temperature drops, this thing is like so unpliable. It's not even funny. Unpliable, non-pliable. All right. I'm trying to do this in a way you can see me because the sun is kind of messing us up here. All right, so we're gonna put the safety goggles on, and which I can't see anything out of. Maybe I have a cleaner pair. I probably say that every time. I'm probably like, oh, this pair's too dirty. Let's get a cleaner pair. Another pair in here. Oh yeah, much cleaner. I've run these things through the dishwasher before. Yeah, it's way better. I can actually see. All right, so got little lights here you can turn on. Eddie always turns them on when I'm about to use this thing. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. This thing makes easy work. Oh yeah. Moment of truth. This screwdriver isn't really round. It's kind of like a round one. That one's not round either. All right. So this is one way to do it. Maybe a little more off this side, because then it'll come up, right? Voila. Okay, we got that done. Yeah, so when that mounts back on, Let's hit this piece. Let's just see how this is to start. Yeah, it's balanced. Okay, so we're going to try not to mess it up. All right, I think we got it. All right. So my experience is this just takes minutes to do. It takes probably longer to set up for it, but it is so much better than using stupid. There we go. Using the stupid thing that goes on the drill. All right, so we'll put this away. Okay, I put all that away and gave you a break. So, we're gonna put this back on. So you can always line up where these things came off pretty easily, just by like the bolt, where the bolt imprints are. And it's pretty unique. These Hondas have two blades. I'm telling you, this is one of the best lawnmowers I've ever owned. And, you know, I don't want to make it sound like I'm an old guy and I've, like, been cutting grass for 50 years. I'm not even 50 years old. But what I can say is, you know, over the years, my parents have had lawnmowers. I've had lawnmowers. And, you know, I was always reluctant to go with a Honda because I just loved Briggs & Stratton, right? Like, I just remember, you know, being a product of, you know, the late 70s, early 80s, you know, we used lawnmowers from that era, and they were well made. Even the inexpensive ones, like, they just were well made. And, you know, I just always thought, you know, you tune a lawnmower every year and blah, blah, blah. It's fine. So, like, that's how it was. But then you get into, you know, modern manufacturing practices. And I get why Briggs & Stratton had to cheap out and stuff and change things. Regulations, one. And two, cost of materials. You're just going to price yourself right out, you know. And so I get it. And so I had my first house, I bought a Kmart Yard Machines mower. Lasted like 5 years. And the rings went on it. And I mean, bad. And so then I did my research because I really wanted it to be like how I was growing up. You buy a lawnmower and it lasts 20 years. And so I did my research, and I didn't want a self-propelled one because I felt I'm the self-propelled. I'm still young enough, even then. I think we're good. Yeah, we're on there. And so I did my research, and I was going to, it was between this is back in 2015. It was between this or Husqvarna with the same motor on it, because you could get a Husqvarna with this motor on it. And I ultimately just paid a little more money to go with this. What is this tool for? It's weird. It's like it doesn't belong in this toolbox. Okay. It might belong in the one downstairs. Put that there. So, you know, that, and my ex-wife, I mean, it drove her crazy. I'm like, whoa. Drove her crazy. You know, sitting on the couch in the evening, I'm like, oh, like, do I get this lawnmower? Do I get it? But she, you know, at the end, she used to laugh and be like, well, I know it drives you crazy with all the research and everything you do, but you end up making a pretty good decision at the end of the day. And it's now 2026. This is 11 years old. I guess that would say it's in its 12th cutting season. And aside from some bold tires, it's pretty good. All right, so next we're going to put it back up. I should probably pop the spark plug out of the gas. So we're basically just going to put, actually, you know what? I don't think I need to break my neck to put it up there anymore. I'm going to, though. I'm going to put it up there just because it's easier to work on. Such a nice day. We just gotta get rid of that snow. There's a shot by the end of the week that by this time next week it's gone. All right, so we had it facing that way. So we have to put oil in it, put the plug in, put the air filter in, and then we're good to go. Right? Right. Okay, one part. Wait. This is why you go to the gym, so you can pick up your lawnmower and hit your space heater with it. Okay. All right. So, let's open up the air box again. We should be safe because I didn't tip it that way. And I have the fuel. One thing I loved about this Honda, there's no oil in the oil box or air box. One thing I love about these Hondas is the fuel shutoff. And when I first got it for a number of years, every time I was done cutting the grass, I would just like put it to off and just like let it run itself out. Then I stopped doing that. Does it go this way? It goes this way. And then, so it goes like that. So it goes like that. It goes like that. And then I kind of stopped doing that. But now it's great for when you're working on it, like we just were. There's no fuel like dripping all over the place. Okay, that's in. This thing's a little dirty, but I don't typically when I do this time of year or the winter time, we don't hose it off or anything. I don't really hose it. Typically after the first time I use it to mow the lawn, I mean, I'll hose it down and then I take the car washing stuff and I wash it. And then yes, I actually wax. I wax I can still feel the wax on it. Wax the deck, and I use like auto detailer on the plastics and everything, and that's why it's held up, I think. All right, let's take this plug out of the fuel here. Okay, now the oil. So I bought online genuine Honda oil. I think I have some Briggs. I have a drip, like a tad of Briggs oil left. I'm hoping, so this weekend Eddie will be here. If we get decent temperatures and no rain, and I say no rain because it's just much. Oh, I got 2 things of oil. Great, that's awesome. I say no rain because it's just easier to work when you pull the Mustang out. So one of the thought processes we had for this year is to start thinking about building a carport on the other side of this garage behind the fence, so it's kind of hidden. And so this way we can do different projects in there. All right. And that, like, if I had that out, that's where I'd probably keep the Lincoln over the winter time. Now, I won't take the Lincoln out quite yet because there's still grit on the road. And I spent, documented on this channel, I spent some good money on the body work this time last year. And I, just repainting it. All right, I don't think it takes this whole freaking thing. This is a quart. No, I don't think it takes a quart. But we will, whoops, not spill oil everywhere. Or spill oil everywhere. Get my funnel. So I have the riding mower over here in this corner, and we're going to work our way towards that. It got tuned up the end of 24. It didn't get used at all at 24 because I had issues with it. So it got tuned up at the end. And then last year, it just got gently used. So I wasn't going to put it in this year. But there's like oil. Why is this so slow? There's oil. A little bit of oil underneath of it. That is a 2019 Cub Cadet. I bought brand new. The property at the old location, after I trimmed with the push mower, it would take me 25 minutes to use the tractor. So not a lot of hours on it. Not a lot of hours on it at all. And then I had an issue with it. So all of 2024, it was basically out of commission. It had to do with the starter and the sensor. And I did a video series on it. I get like PTSD thinking about what I went through. So it got tuned up. Last year, I used it here probably not until like midsummer. And then I didn't cut the grass that much. I didn't cut like I said earlier, I didn't cut the back lawn. So it just got used for like 15 minutes tops. So I don't know what's going on with it, why it's dripping oil on the floor. I haven't been, for what I've used it for, it's been fine. And it's actually overkill XT2, but I haven't been thrilled with its reliability. And it's unfortunate because I thought Cub Cadet was a really good brand. And my parents back in 1989 bought a Honda push mower, or Honda riding lawnmower. And that's also what kind of swayed me for this later on. And it lasted 15 years before I think it blew. I think a bearing went on it. The bearing went on it, and but we overused it. Like we had what was it? It was a 3510. I forget the numbers or whatever. It was the air cooled model, 38-inch cut. This is like a 42-inch cut, and we had 2 acres. Everyone around us had like minimum 2 acres, and I was constantly trying to earn money cutting other people's lawns. So I was using it to cut other people's lawns, my parents' lawn. It really was not big enough for the job, but it lasted 15 years. And this thing, it looks like we're about halfway there. I'm going to let it sit. This thing here, the only reason it would last 15 years is because it barely gets used. So, I'm kind of in a situation where I'm like, well, I don't know if, like it came in handy when I got the wood delivered, and we stacked it in the back because we used a riding mower for that, with the cart. Came in big time handy for that versus like a million trips at the wheelbarrow. Because I was trying to think, other than cutting the grass, like what do I use it for? Like that. This property was easy. I only had to do one major leaf cleanup, and I used a backpack blower. That was easy. So, it's kind of one of those things like, well, I'll try to keep it alive. And maybe if something were to happen to it and I replace it, I'd probably replace it with the second-hand one. All right, putting the plug back in, snug, don't kill it. All right, plugs back in. The boot is off. Remind me if I go to start this and I leave the boot off. I just do that for safety reasons. Yeah, we're about ready to let this thing rip. I think we're okay in the oil level. One of the things I like about when you order the small thing of Briggs & Stratton oil for like a typical lawnmower application is like that's the exact amount it takes, so you just dump it in mindlessly. All right, I'm gonna put this over here. I think we're about ready to pull this down and let it fly. Doesn't really take me long to do this. All right, the oil pan. Let's put the funnel back over here in the oil pan. But it's good. It's early March, and the fact that I'm chipping away at these things, so like suddenly it's like, oh, it's time to mow the lawn, and everything's in shambles in the garage. Like everything's, I don't want to say shambles, but like packed away. All right, let's give myself a hernia again. For me, it's the bending over part. Okay. All right, so we're gonna fire it up. I'm gonna do it right there because the light is kind of a pain. I'm not gonna totally put the sawhorses away because you just don't know. Okay, fuel is on. Spark plug is plugged in. Let's see what happens. Oh, let me get that bungee because I will want to run it for a little bit. So that ran great. One pull was just awesome. It was on its side. It was, all that. And one pull. Let's check the oil level. Yeah, I'd say it's good. It's such a good machine. These actually don't take that much oil. Yeah, I can see it on there. So what I like to do is, so we checked the oil there. I think the oil level's good. And I know I said don't really wipe it down or clean it until I'm after the first cut, but so the reality is early March, like this thing's not gonna get fired up again until, let's put it on mulch mode. This thing won't get fired up again until early May at best. So, so it's just, if I were to go to the trouble of cleaning it and washing it and all that stuff, plus the hose is like put away, it's just gonna be all dusty, and So the important thing is mechanically it's good to go. All right, so what I'm going to attempt to do, well, I should let it cool off first. I put the generator back in its corner, and I'm going to throw, that thing cools down, I'm going to, what Eddie and I devised of a storage plan for this thing. It sits on top of the generator, on top of that old shelf from the old location. We devised that in the old location as a kind of a stopgap for storage, and it works really, really well. So really the next couple things I want to do out here is I want to vacuum out the Suburban, and I have to get my little shop vac because my big one is set up for wet cleanup for the basement, which is I'm still dealing with. And I also want to vacuum the carpet in here, which I'll probably just grab the Orc because it doesn't look like there's anything in here that's going to really jam it up or anything like that. So we'll do that. And then the other thing, it's like one after the other. The other thing, I should probably sweep. Where should I put you so you can see what I'm doing? See all that snow on the back deck? I'm just waiting. If I'm gonna warn you, if we abruptly cut off, it's because I ran out of memory. I just get I try to get really good yesterday afternoon and do a lot of uploading. And granted, like a lot of videos don't air for a month to up to 2 months until after. I'm so far out there, though. I'm just going to start releasing multiple videos per day, I think. And the reason I did that is because my work travel gets so crazy that I like to queue things up, because sometimes what will happen is I'll be on a work trip and I'm not filming for a week or so. And then I come back, and then I like to keep a buffer so that I'm like constantly chasing it, depending on how bad my work schedule is. All right, so I think the next thing we'll do is I think I will vacuum, and then this gas can normally lives over. Stupid snow shovels. Can't wait to, again, it's early March, and these snow shovels, you're like, can't wait to put them away. I should just put them away now. It's 60 degrees outside. Wrong. Yeah, we have plenty of oil here to do a couple more lawnmowers. So we're going to do the neighbor's lawnmower, hopefully, maybe this weekend, and then we can get it back to her, which is good because that'll free space. Got this keychain I want to hang up, or key hook, scrap piece of metal. Yeah, what happens is you come across things over the winter time. You know what? I know where this scrap can go. You come across things over the winter time, and you're like, oh yeah, I need to find a place for that, and you just put it on the workbench, right? And not that the workbench gets trashed, as I said before, but certain things pile up. Yeah, this lawnmower here, I don't know if you can still see it, but that's the neighbor's, and it'll be so great when that gets out of here, because then that lawnmower will be so great, because then the Honda doesn't have to live up there. And we do have this space where that snow shovel fell down. It's like a free space. I gotta just put a couple things back here. Where should these go? I know where I would like to put them. I would like to throw them out permanently. They can go back here. That's good because they're still accessible. All right, the leaf blower. Leaf blower needs a permanent home because, like I said, this area here I like to keep clear at all times because it's great. Even with the car in here, you can actually set up the sawhorses and do a little side project. This 3733 normally hangs from the ceiling above the lawn tractor, but when I was busting the generator out, I wanted to keep it near the generator in case I had to blow the exhaust out the garage door. I didn't know how that was going to work. So I guess I have some plastic container. Hey, well, now I know why I had it over here. Is because I can't get it back to where I had it hanging on the ceiling. I was able to like stand on multiple things to do that before to get it down. And then the ladder. Oh, it's so nice to see kids out on their scooters. The ladder lives here. This is my sweatshirt from earlier. People have their windows down in their car. Nice. Yeah, it's definitely sunroof weather for sure, or pop your window in your car. But I wouldn't say let's go for a swim, or if I was going for a run, I'd definitely have shorts on. But inevitably, there'll be someone who's walking around like, "Oh, it got so hot today." Like you New Englanders. So I don't know if you can see me. Up here is lawnmower parts, old stock that we use. During COVID, Eddie and I went on a tear with finding lawnmowers, repairing them, and then flipping them, and really had a great time doing it. And we have a lot of extra parts up there. And the stock has kind of thinned out because we kind of slowed down with that and used up what we have. And then this box here is a parts box for his project there, which I got to get these lawnmowers, like I said, the ones I want to sell, together and out. And then I have a 1986 Briggs & Stratton there that I've owned since 2020, found on the side of the road. I think it has a diaphragm carb issue, and I just can't get it right. It was working perfectly for a number of years. I tuned it and used it. It was really enjoyable to use. And I want to use it here. And then part of me is like, I could use this space as well. It'd be nice to like maybe part with it for $20 or something. I haven't really totally made up my mind yet, but it's been kind of like to say like a paperweight in a way. Okay, I think with a bicycle. At the old location, I used to put my bicycle in the basement in the winter time, and here I decided not to do that because I had some space. All right, I am going to grab the Oric. I'll be right back. All right, I am normally like, I have a cool old Oric, that, but I'm not a vacuum collector. But I do know a bunch of you who are into this, so I will let this roll. Normally I would just cut the video while I'm vacuuming, but we'll vacuum so you can see the Oric and hear it. But they have that distinct sound. Like that. This thing does such a great job. This thing is 36 years old too. All right. Awesome. There's for the Oric fans out there. I am an Oric fan, and this cord's not original. I think the original cord was white on this, and it was replaced probably about 20 years ago. I remember I was just telling Jordan this story when I had my apartment in New Jersey in 2006, and it's my first place, so like I took what I could, and my parents didn't want this, so I took it. All right, I'm gonna go put it back. And then I was telling how I got zapped on the old cord because it was just fried, or the insulation was worn out, so I replaced it. Okay, so put the Oric away. When I got the mini shop vac in the basement, it's like a vacuum at the Suburban, which I probably won't do on camera because it's run the cord down the dry, which is not too exciting. Not that this is riveting, but I thought what we'd do is I turned the battery tender off, I unplugged it, disconnected it, thought we would fire up this, and while I'm vacuuming, let this run. And that moisture that was under the hood, I'm glad the sun was here because it seems to have dried it out. And I just think that was just moisture. It was weird. I don't like it, but it can't be good for the coil packs. All right. Well, that's a good sign. It's a very good sign. All right, we'll let that run for a bit. I am going to vacuum out the Suburban, and then we'll check back. All right, so the Suburban's vacuumed. I even hit the Mustang with just had a little dirt in there from just pulling in and out over the past few months. That's clean. I hit the vacuum. Went to go vacuum the driver's side, and there it was clean, didn't even need it. So everything's good. So I'm gonna cut it here. The only thing I'm gonna do is just put everything back. I'm gonna crank some tunes on. I like Yacht Rock radio, so I'm gonna put some Yacht Rock radio on and pack it up. It's a little after 4 o'clock, and life is good. Today was a good day. Not bad for a Monday, sneaking out, playing a little hooky, getting some stuff done. I did work this morning. And thanks for hanging out with me. And comments are welcomed. And stay tuned for more outside garage type activities. And we'll see you on the next one. Comment, like, subscribe.